Hank Green made a video about the AI industry and how it's circular and how it's got problems. And apparently he made a video responding to the comments that I haven't watched. So I was going to see if he has any interesting thoughts.
Day says, thoughtful breakdown. The cyclical investments in chip demand definitely warrant scrutiny, but the picture is complex and you're a bit of a grumpy pants on this sometimes. It's true. There's real infrastructure and research value here, not just speculation, though profits are trailing spend at the moment. I agree with this. Remember, and I assume everybody knows this, but there was a dot-com bubble and a dot-com crash, and now we have the internet and it's extremely
I want to say, this is true, but it's like saying if your house is on fire, you're like, it's a little hotter than I'd like. When you say profits are trailing spend, you're not accurately explaining the degree to which a company is losing $5 billion and then promising $1 trillion in spend. There are no profits and the spend is gargantuan. Oh, am I pre-watching? Are you gonna say this? Because he was saying something else, so I thought I could say it safely. I don't like the tone of, yeah, all right, the profits aren't quite there. It's like they're not close. It's not even in the ballpark.
The question sort of at the center remains, these are like alien in the way that they think. And like, is what they are doing thinking? Is what they have intelligence? They have something and they're acting in the way that they act. And I just don't think that we know.
There's this great story about the difference between knowledge and understanding. Have you heard of the physicist Max Planck? Sounds like a superhero. Max Planck is doing a tour in Europe, I think, in the 1920s. And he's going around to all these universities and he's giving speeches on theoretical physics. And the country he's in, it might be Germany or whatever, has given him a chauffeur to drive him around to all of his speaking engagements. Again, this is the 20s. This is a while ago. He's driving around every single night. The chauffeur drops him off, watches him give the speech, and then drives him home. And after weeks and weeks of doing this, the chauffeur says, you know, Max, I've watched your speech so many times, I could give it by heart. I've seen you do it every night. I'm so bored of it. I could do it. I could get up there and deliver this story. This is Einstein. The Einstein one is not the true one, okay? But someone changed it for dumb American audiences. They changed it to Einstein for you idiots, okay? Then Max Planck says, all right, fine, go up there and do it. So the chauffeur gets up on stage and he delivers the speech perfectly, 100% perfectly. All the physics is correct. He delivers it, people standing ovation. Oh, they switch clothes, by the way. They switch clothes. And then someone in the audience stands up with a question and he asks this really complicated physics question. And the chauffeur in Max Planck's outfit goes, what a silly question. It's so simple, even my chauffeur could answer it. And then he points to his chauffeur. And that's the difference between knowledge and understanding. And right now, the AI models have an enormous amount of knowledge, but they break upon understanding. It's so regurgitated that they don't have the truth of it. And it's difficult. I guess what I'm saying is it makes the AI models extremely good at one task in particular, which is cheating. They're good at a number of things, and I have used them for research, but they're goated at cheating. That's their number one use case. And so when it's something that requires like rote learning or repetition of something that's already done, they're incredible. When it requires something new or dealing with a fact that is changing in the real world in real time, they're horrendous. So yeah, that's my take on it lately, is I have found a lot of positivity to it, but anytime it's something that doesn't require rote learning, something already learned, I find it to be very limited very quickly.
Like one of the main users of ChatGPT's tokens, of OpenAI's tokens, is Indeed, because people applying for jobs will use the tokens to fancy up all their stuff and to make their stuff specific to a company. And then the company will use OpenAI's tokens to decode all of that, reprocess it so that they don't have to read all of that stuff that the AI created. That's just like decreasing productivity. It's adding a bunch of steps that we did.
Yeah, 100%. That's a great example. I mean, it's happening also in schools. There's a parent who was looking at their child's homework and the kid was struggling with it. And so the kid cheated and used AI to cheat the homework. And the parent was mad at the kid and checking the work. And they realized that the entire homework paper had been generated with AI and was likely graded with AI. So it was a kid cheating with AI on a task designed by AI that was going to be graded by. So at no point was any human involved in the process. It's just everyone checking boxes with no learning and no humanity. And that is decreasing the value of the educational process 100%. Like it's not benefiting. And again, many people, I did a video called The Rise of AI Work Slop, and a lot of people reached out to me about pressure from their bosses to use AI more. And they found it, they would use AI and it would make something that was kind of almost good enough, but required so much time to fix, they could have just probably done it to begin with. And so they're ending up in these spots where it's a lot of like pushing shit around till somebody actually gets fed up enough to fix it to be correct. I'm not saying it won't be transformative. I do think it will. I think machine learning itself is just incredible. And I think a lot of things that are solvable, like chess or Go or any work version of that, is going to be out of humans' hands pretty quickly, because if it's repeatable and solvable, machines will get incredible at it very quickly. But a lot of novel stuff, it's hitting the skids pretty quick. That's where I'm seeing the challenges. And the new models aren't really addressing that.
So like my case isn't there isn't value here. My case is that we don't know what this means or what to do with it or what we're gonna do with it or whether the next models are gonna be a quantum leap or whether the next models are gonna...
Sam Altman does. So you're wrong.
Thanks for the video. Do you think it's possible that the NVIDIA trusts so much in the future of AI that they are happy to trade hardware for stakes in these AI companies? I think that it's very easy to believe something that makes that like if it were true, you would become one of the most powerful people in the world. It's very hard to get someone to believe the truth if their paycheck is dependent on them not believing it, except like multiply that by 1 billion. So yeah, I think that Jensen Huang thinks that he's investing in what will become the future like Rockefeller of AI. To some extent, if you use AI a lot, AI determines how you see the world. It becomes a window that helps you create your reality.
I just want to say that. That's not really it applies to both sides. Like, as a YouTuber in the space that Hank Green is in, he could not make a video saying AI is amazing and it's going to be awesome and the haters are fake. His audience would revolt. So his paycheck in some ways is you know what I'm saying? It's just, we have to find out with reality. I agree with him. I'm just saying like that defense would apply if Jensen Huang said it about you.
So the compute is basically time on the chip. So the chips can do a certain amount of computations per second. Let's just think of it that way. Imagine you need 1 million hours on these chips to do something, then you need to buy that processing time. So either you would buy 1 million chips for an hour or you'd buy 1 chip for 1 million hours. And that's you purchasing the compute. It's just time, like processing time. It takes time for the chips to do stuff. It also takes other stuff, like it takes, heat has to be carried away and energy has to be put in, but those things are commodities. That's stuff that's available. The thing that is not a commodity, like the chips can't go faster than a certain speed. So that's what you're buying. You're buying time on the chips.
I want to talk about renting compute real quick. That's another big part of this thing. It's like, if you're a data center company, right? And you're going to spend $100 billion, bulldoze the ground, build the data center, hook up the water, hook up the electricity, maybe build a small modular reactor, so you have the power. If you do all that stuff, then you buy, with 70% of the money, $70 billion of GPUs to fill the data center. You have to then rent that out to companies that want to do AI stuff. You have to rent out the compute of the data center. And what they're finding right now is that it is not profitable at the charge they're giving. At how much people are willing to pay per hour of compute is not enough to make that profitable. That's spooky. And the second part is they have to be able to rent it all out. You can't have like half of your server rack going to a company and they're half just unused. You have to rent it all out to even be close to making your money back. And so, a company like NVIDIA is not just giving a $100 billion investment to CoreWeave. They're also saying, hey, if you take this money, you buy a bunch of GPUs, you build a data center, and you can't rent it all out, we will rent whatever your unused space is. They're not only giving them money for them to buy the chips and buildings, they're also giving them a guarantee of a customer. That really is like incredibly vendor financing circular. The only way that works is if NVIDIA is so confident that they won't have to fulfill that promise. So yeah, the more you look into it, the more like it's not, the finances are very strange outside of, a true fundamental AGI type change.
We'll make it so that these things can basically do anything and like, just deliver a tremendous amount of value really easily. But there are other things that even if that happened.
Yeah, and then someone says new GPUs coming fast. Second part of that is depreciation, right? So if you spend $70 billion buying a bunch of Blackwell, H200 GPUs, people are writing this down as like a 6 to 8 year depreciation cycle, a lifespan where it's like, we're buying these and we're going to be able to profitably rent them out for 6 to 8 years. But realistically, it's more like 2. There's no chance you're still renting H200s profitably to other companies in 8 years. It's just not likely. NVIDIA's doing a new generation every year now. The idea that there's customers out there that are going to want to rent your old ass, dusty ass GPUs years and years down the road is extremely unlikely. And if you take away that fudged accounting, it becomes even more insane.
So one, we don't know what to do with that value. We don't know how to actually use it or deploy it. Two, society isn't ready to accept that value being created. Society says, and this is what happened with the internet. Like the internet was out there and you could buy stuff on pets.com, but like nobody did. But now we do.
Okay, here's an idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. What if we put snails in boxes in all the data centers and they start and then you don't have to pay any taxes on the data center, which drastically reduces their cost.
The individual problems that individual businesses need to solve, I don't think that AGI, you could just say like, here's my company and here's all of our books, so fix all the problems. I just don't think that that's how it works. Like, I don't think that you could just plug a bunch of market research and like financial analysis.
I mean, well, realistically, if it could do that, the company wouldn't exist. The company wouldn't need to exist. Anyone could create it. If the AI could do all of the work and you could just put in your books and it does all your stuff, then you no longer have a competitive advantage. You don't have anything differentiating. Everything would go to zero. Everyone just opens up AGI and types "make me money." It would be in a fundamentally different economic system. It would be incompatible.
A thing and be like, okay, spit out the perfect ad. Nor do I think it will be like, spit out the perfect structure for this business. Who should be fired? Who should be hired? Who should be, reassigned from marketing to sales?
Someone said that's when we all sit at home and watch YouTube. So you're saying this is a post-AGI utopian future where everyone has everything they need and I still have to work? The only job that still exists is cranking out YouTube slop?
I a little bit think that the people in charge of these really massive businesses, they think their jobs are like doing deals between other massive businesses, but they don't understand like how the work actually gets done all the time. Which I think that because I don't understand that about my business. One of the worst like manager mistakes is like sending an email like, hey, this, what about this? And then, the head of that department is like, yeah, we're aware of that problem. This is the reason your solution doesn't work. Like, we're not idiots down here. And I a little bit think that the bigger your business gets, the more...
That's what Jensen would do. Not to throw him under the bus, but I mean, I kind of disagree with Hank's assessment here, but like Jensen would hear a complaint about something and then send an email, whatever person was associated with it, with just a question mark. It'd be like a picture of the complaint and it would just be question mark. That would be the email. And you're supposed to drop everything. 5-alarm fire, figure it out, solve that question mark, get back to them within the end of the day. That is terrible. I don't know. I guess it kind of worked for emergencies. In marketing, I think we got it. We got one of those question mark emails when my memory's kind of hazy on it, but I recall it was like the Russian branch of NVIDIA had done an ad unsanctioned where it was like a GPU fashion show. Women dressed up in dresses inspired by GPUs doing a model runway, and they spent a bunch of money on it. And it was like, what the is this? This girl. Yeah, this was like totally unsanctioned. We had to crack down on that. You know what? I think let her cook, though.
This is specific about NVIDIA selling chips and then renting those chips back. And you're right. This makes sense to do. The thing that doesn't make sense about it is that they have guaranteed that they're going to use a large portion of the chips. So they basically have said, if you can't sell this to somebody else, we'll buy it up to a large amount. It's so full of circles back to the same two companies to the point that you could call these companies venture capitals.
Plus 1.5.
Like Venn diagram. I just liked that one. That was good. But speaking of, when you start looking at the crossover of people on the boards of these companies, you start understanding too bad conflict of interest isn't a thing anymore. It does seem like it might actually be illegal in some cases. There's a lot of people who are on the.
Dude, it is wild that Jensen Huang of NVIDIA and Lisa Su of AMD are cousins, and now they both own pieces of OpenAI, and NVIDIA owns shares of Intel, and there's like, this is the competition. Sorry, yeah, OpenAI owns pieces of AMD, and NVIDIA owns pieces of OpenAI. So NVIDIA actually owns shares of its two competitors, Intel and AMD. Anyway, I think I get the gist here. Thank you, Hank Green. I think he's doing connections. Interesting video. I like that he's been pushing this to his audience. It's very cool. I'm glad to see more people talk about it.